Hi there, welcome to the fifth and final video on our course on high performing teams. And in this video I want to try and pull together some of the ideas we've been discussing in videos 1 to 4 and also share with you some leadership tips around my experience in working with teams to help them become high performing. So in terms of recapping what we've already covered, in video 1 we talked about virtual teams separated in time and place. We looked at the stats that says they are becoming more prevalent. Almost everybody is in some form of virtual team these days. We talked about virtual teams have their own problems of time and space, and also one of the problems of space and being in different spaces is the culture problem, where team members might have different national, organizational and even professional cultures, and how this can cause problems in teams. We also looked at the fact that virtual teams will have all the same challenges as ordinary teams have, plus some more besides. And we looked at a little martini model to give us some ideas on how we might address some of those challenges head on. In the second video we looked at the real problem you will find yourself in, where you've been given a team and you have to get them working on something immediately. How do you quickly mobilize a team? Well, you can't make them high performing overnight, but you can stop them being low performing by putting in some foundations, by doing some mobilization work and some little exercises where you stress a team and give them a chance to review and improve effectively rapid evolution of a team using paper-based exercises and also business simulations. In video 3 we looked at the importance of teams' processes. If a team doesn't have processes, it's like a railway engine trying to run without good tracks. In video 4 we looked at the other side of high performing teams, which is getting the people on board and people into the right shape, and the importance of change management in terms of the members of the team. And we shared simple little tools there, such as a stakeholder mapping, where you can place people on a map and see where they are in terms of their influence, their attitude and your relationship with them. And underpinning all this is our integrated model of high performing teams, which we've really been part of all the videos. And on one side we have the process development work that you'll have to do with the team as a whole, and then this underpinning the change management you will have to do with the individuals of the team one at a time. And the process development work underpins the change management, and the change management enhances the process development. So if you do it well, you have a virtuous circle. You need to do both of these things together. A couple of important observations. Firstly, that team working has to evolve. You can get a minimally working team quickly, but to make it high performing you need to have time. On the left side of the screen there we have Bruce Tuckman's model of 1965, quite a famous model, where you go through 4 stages. Forming is where the team's coming together, very dependent on the leader. Storming is where the team members are starting to vie with each other and people are starting to argue about how we're going to do things. Norming is the stage beyond this, where people have worked out ways and people are agreeing ways to do things. And then performing is the team is actually doing its job and doing it well. You can't do this overnight. You can get the basic team going, but then you need to allow time for it to evolve. I've also got a similar model here, more focused on team communications, which I've found from my experience of running simulation-based team events. Often a team starts off in what I call hyper communication, where everybody's in every conversation, but everything just takes too long. Teams often go to the other extreme of over-delegation, where they parcel it all up, but they don't talk enough to each other, so it doesn't fit together. And what's quite nice is when teams evolve out of these two naive forms of team communication into what I call effective communication, where they realize, of course we've got to delegate, but we've also got to communicate as well to make sure it all fits together. So team working, you can get a basic minimal team working very quickly, but you must allow time if you really want to evolve it into a high-performing team. I've been running these team-based events now for the last 10 years. Literally every week we do a simulation-based event with 2 or 3 or 4 teams competing with each other, and we've collected the mistakes teams make when we put them under pressure. And the shocking thing about this slide is the mistakes teams make are just so incredibly basic. The first mistake is teams don't manage time. So in management meetings, if you don't leave enough time for all your decisions, the ones you rush are not going to be good decisions. Teams make silly mistakes. If you're going to make mistakes, at least make mistakes that are clever, not mistakes where you clearly didn't read the basics right. Teams have problems with information, and if a team is not actively managing its information, the information will control it, or they'll be working on out-of-date information. And we talked about a key process is keeping the team up to date in the most appropriate way in the information it manages. Teams need to learn. One of the ways you don't learn is if you constantly make unchecked assumptions. So team learning, teams that work well need to learn quickly, not make the same mistakes over and over again. Team direction. Many teams, the planning phase is really for the wall. The strategy phase is for the wall. They don't follow through on it. If you've got a strategy and plan, you should use it. If it's not right, you should change it. But don't just put it up on the wall. And you'd be amazed how many teams do that. A lot of teams think we're all peers, so we're not going to have any roles. Everybody's going to be a leader. But effectively means nobody is a leader. So very few teams can survive without roles in any business situation. And finally, values and behaviours. We find lots of teams spending an inordinate amount of time defining values and behaviours and then abandoning them at the first crisis. If you really do have values that are meaningful to you, then when you need them is in the crisis, not when the times are going well. So these 7 mistakes can be part of anybody's checklist when they're setting up a team. Let's just make sure if we're going to make mistakes, we don't make these really silly ones. So in my business, we design and we run simulation games for teams. Some of them are specifically to teach them the topic of high-performing teams or team leadership. Others are teaching other topics because they're played in teams. People learn all about team dynamics as well. And simulations on computer or on paper are a great way to rapidly create a high-performing team. So thank you for staying with us. If you want to check us out, the website is dashboardsimulations.com. If you need any more information, you want any more of the supporting material of the course, please get in touch. Or if you want a demo of any of the simulations, we'd be delighted to do that as well. Thank you very much.